Welcome, luscious Librans. My name's Rose Smith from absolutesoulsecrets.com, and I'm going to be doing your horoscopes and a few other bits and pieces with tarot and also psychic reading, highlighting the key themes for January 2020 for you. First thing I should mention, this is just a really short version. There's actually a really big article about what's going to happen for luscious Librans and the rest of the world on my website, so I will put the link in the description. But this is a really big year and it's a really big month, so welcome to a new month, in a new year, in a new decade. And there's a lot going on. So for example, we have 6 eclipses this year. That is a lot. Normally there's only 3 or 4, but with 6 it's like we're going to be rolling from one eclipse into the next, because as you probably know, the effects of eclipses often last for months. So it'll be like you'll just get something sort of, home and hosed and organized, and you'll be feeling okay with it. Another eclipse will then come, and so it's a year of constant transformation and change. So best not to try and hang on to the past. Those things that are destined to leave us, they will leave us, and better to sort of go with the flow where you can. I know it's not easy all the time. The thing about Librans though is, as an air sign, we can change. We're not sort of like fixed like Earth in the way that some signs are. So as an air sign, we can think about things and logically weigh things up. I'm a Libran myself, actually. So we can weigh things up and move with the times. So that's one little blessing. We have ability to be logical and analytical when we need it. Okay, so this year, starting in January, because we have our first eclipse this month, this year the focus for Librans is in the 4th house, which is all about home and family. So there's a lot going on here, because there's also Saturn conjuncting Pluto this month, and it's on the 12th, and that's also in the 4th house. So we could be thinking about relocating, buying or selling a house. We could be thinking about beautifying our home in some way, because as Librans we like things beautiful, and so these renovations, or even if you can't afford to renovate, even if it's something like painting a room or doing something to beautify our area and keep our where we live clean and tidy and things like that. We do better when we do that. If we're in a mess, it's sort of depressing to us, and so there's a big focus on that. If we don't do it in our own direct homes or gardens, it could be our family that's involved. So there's changes there in the home and the family. Okay, family members may come back. It might be that someone in the family that you haven't heard of or heard from for a while, they come back and you hear news, and there's sort of a reunification, because Venus, our ruler, really likes that. Venus likes compromise and peace and harmony, even to the point with Librans where sometimes we sacrifice ourselves for the good of others. Of course, the problem with self-sacrifice is eventually you've got nothing else left to give, because you've given everything, and it's still not enough, and so we're just left depleted. And so I don't think it's a good idea to be self-sacrificial, but we're good at weighing things up. So you can say, well, am I getting back what I'm putting into this relationship? And if I'm not, what am I going to do about it? So I'll leave that question up to you, lovely Librans. Okay, so with the 4th house, there's so much going on there. We've got this month the Sun, Mercury, the first half of the month. We've got Jupiter, and then we've got Saturn and Pluto. So there's a great big thing happening. There's so much energy there. It's almost like it'll be hard not to change. You really have to sort of fix your mind and say, I'm not going to change. With all of those planets going on and all of that activity, it'll be hard not to change. And I've actually, just my own story there, for 2 years I've wanted to renovate and things keep getting in the way and I haven't been able to. So I'm really hopeful that this year I'll be able to do it. And because, all the little ducks have got to line up in a row and, getting people to do the things that you need doing, because they want to knock out walls and things like that, like fairly major. Hopefully this year I can do it. So I feel like with the help from all of these planets that yes, it will happen finally. Alrighty, on the 4th, the Mars is in your 3rd house. Okay, so 3rd house is all about messages, communications, your local area, your siblings and study. And Mars gives a lot of motivation, a lot of energy, a lot of activity. It's like you're being pushed to do things. So if you have a small business, it's an excellent time for promotion, doing an email campaign, marketing, that sort of thing. Anything where you've got to get your message out and into the world. Okay, Mars will certainly help us with that. The other thing, as I mentioned before, because we're air signs, we think all the time. And in fact, it may even be an issue. I noticed myself the last few nights that I keep waking up at 3 o'clock. It's because my brain's going. And it's like you have to take control of your head and say, not now, go to sleep. And with Mars there, Mars could do that with all of the activity going on as well. The 10th sees a lunar eclipse in your 10th house of career and reputation. Okay, so a lunar eclipse is all about shaking up and transforming things that are deep, deep, deep inside. We may not take action straight away, but what will happen is lunar eclipse will stir things up in our subconscious. So we'll be thinking about ways that we can further our career. Are we on the exact path, or do we need to slightly tweak our direction in some way? So it'll be going on within, but it'll be down the track that will actually put our learnings out into the world. So we might not act straight away. It's also to do with a lunar eclipse here also can stir up things about reputation and status. So this might be your online reputation, for example. People might begin to notice you more than before, and it might be a mixed reaction. So some people love what you're doing and some people don't, and that's just how it is in the world. And I know sometimes, on social media you can get narky comments and things like that. My experience is it's best just to delete and block rather than get into arguments, because they just want to argue, and we don't like that because we're Librans and we want to be peaceful. And live in a harmonious world, but it's very difficult to live in a harmonious world these days sometimes. So yeah, if you find that you're attracting attention but it's not the attention that you want, you'll need to have a strategy of how you're going to deal with that. Okay, so that's the lunar eclipse, and it's actually just checking that you're on track. You might think you're on track, and then you've got people telling you you're not, that you're wrong. Basically, they're saying you're wrong, and then you say, well, am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. So be careful, of course, what you put online. Don't put, things that are not true and stuff like that, or fake news and all of conspiracy theories and all of that. A lot of that is not true. I won't say all of it, but a lot of it isn't true. Some of it's true. So, you really have to weigh things up, because you're going to attract attention. All right. 13th, Venus, which is our ruler, and it moves into our 6th house. Now, Neptune's already there. which gives a very sort of spiritual energy. And with Venus and Neptune together, it's quite a beautiful energy, a fluid sort of energy of peace and calm. And you might find that you actually want some peace and quiet away from distractions in your normal everyday life under this influence. So this is in our 6th house, which is like our everyday routine, everyday work. You might find that at work, just doing your normal thing, that you're getting on better with your co-workers, for example. You might find if you've got a health issue or a well-being issue, it's not as bad as what it normally is. You feel a bit more calm about it. You're not anxious, so anxious as normally. And so it is a beautiful calming influence. So I'd say make the best of that and get outside into nature and just be by yourself without distraction to enjoy that and get the most, because you'll get messages coming from spirit under this influence. The 16th sees Mercury, the 20th the Sun, and the 24th a new moon of new beginnings, all in our 5th house of entertainment, leisure and pleasure. And this is the place where we're closest to the world of the child. So we may be having more to do with children, or it may also be our own inner child that we're relating to better. And this can bring up feelings of joy, fun. It's, the house of entertainment, so we can create our own entertainment. Even things like comedy, you might get a good laugh out of something, under these influences. It's also all about what I call young love, which is flirtatious fun. You might meet someone and be in a flirtatious mood, and just sort of go along with them, joking around sort of thing. And that's on the cards as well. It's not like, say you're in an established relationship. It's not like an established relationship. It's like someone that you've just met. But if you are in an established relationship, it can bring a sense of fun into that relationship where it may have been sort of jaded or stagnant or sort of not going anywhere. So with this energy, it's like, you become a little bit more invigorated, a little bit more curious, a little bit more exciting. So that's good news. Now, I should mention, if you haven't watched me before, I do this sort of horoscope at the start, then a psychic sort of introduction of whatever I pick up for the main themes for the month, then some tarot, and finally a psychic summary. So luscious Librans, I'll just close my eyes now and see what I see for you in 2020. Now there's a small gold, it's like a jewelry box. Oh, right. Okay, it's actually a manicure set. And I think they're saying it's like more attention to appearance. So we might be focused on our external appearance, new makeup, nails, hair, which is probably why I'm getting this, because I know my hair needs cutting and all these things need to be done. I just haven't had time to do it. And so there's a sort of focus down here in Australia. We're in summertime, and so a haircut's a really good idea because it's so incredibly hot now. The temperatures are increasing every year. I've really noticed it over the last 3 years, how hot it's getting, and it will continue to get hot, unfortunately. And so your appearance may change in some way, or you might just take a bit more care with your appearance, okay, to better reflect who you are as a person. It's not about showing off or wearing the latest labels or anything like that. It's just that you want to be more in alignment with what's going on inside you. Okay. All right, let's have a look now at the cards, and we'll go to the board and see what we can see. Now, I've already shuffled the cards up previously, but if you know me, you'll know that I always like to give them a quick shuffle. And what I'll do is pick a card for every week of the month and give a psychic interpretation of what I'm picking up. So this is not like a standard tarot reading at all. Okay, this one literally jumps out. Now, this is called the Star. The Star is an omen of success. It's like a young lady, a teenage girl perhaps, full of potential, full of possibilities. See here, she's got a jug of water. See that? This is about dealing in the emotions, the emotional area. She's also sending out messages, probably blessings, messages to spirit. So she's tuning into spirit and you know, trying to have a conversation, a dialogue with spirit about what she should be doing and what's happening. She's wearing this aqua green or blue colour, symbolising the connection between her heart and her throat. The things coming out of her mouth, the way she expresses herself, is a direct result of what's going on in her heart. So spirit loves this kind of energy because it's about the communication between the earthly and the spiritual, and it is a sign of success, eventual success, and that spirit is looking after us. So I'm very pleased to have that one because I'm a Libra too, as I said before. Okay, so moving to the second week of the month. Oh, that one feels hot. And we come up with the Page of Pentacles. Okay, this is usually around physical things. Pentacles is a very grounded, earthy energy. So this could be possessions or money. There's good news coming. Activity needs to take place, so you need to do something about it. You're not just going to win the lottery and all your problems will be solved, unfortunately. So you need to take action and be open. But there could also be some help from someone in authority who will help you on a physical level. Other people could come in and, you know, converse with you and give you some help. So I'm pleased about that one too, because quite often we can do with a bit of help. Okay, so good news coming anyway, and possibly about finances or possessions. Okay, I'm feeling a vibe here about cars, something to do with cars, a change of vehicle, an update of your present vehicle, fixing something that's needs a repair, or getting something new in the car. Change of direction. Okay, third week of January for luscious Librans, and come up with the King of Wands. Okay, this is a great card for inspiration. This can bring a lot of happiness, generosity, help. This guy has got his act together. There's a lot of happiness here. There's a lot of accomplishment. He's taken action and he's been successful. Green here for growth and opportunity. Yellow, the solar plexus, confidence, self-esteem, stepping out, really being able to achieve what he wants to achieve. He's sitting on a wooden throne with his feet on the ground. So although it's a very inspirational and motivational energy, it can be achieved on the physical level. Okay, so there's a lizard down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. See that lizard there? That lizard is also symbolizing physicality, groundedness. Okay, so this is about getting your inspiration, those burning feelings, your heart's desires into the physical world. So it's ultimately about manifestation. Okay, manifestation may be down the track, it mightn't happen instantly, but you get the feelings, you'll get those feelings, and then that sense of accomplishment will come. So that's a great card. I like that one too. Alrighty, and now the final 10 days of the month for luscious Librans for January 2020. Seeing what we're coming up with in the cards, and this one literally jumps out, and it's Pentacles. Okay, seventh, I think it's 7. Yes, it's 7 of Pentacles. Okay, we need to be careful in January that we don't overspend. There could be a disappointment here about money. It could be we thought something was going to happen and it didn't happen. Okay, and it's probably about money or physical possessions. Somebody has let us down. But don't worry, because there is a tree planted here, and it is growing. It's got new growth on it, but it's taking a long time for this plan to come to fruition. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. So if you're doing a project or something that you think that you really believe is what you're supposed to be doing, I would say don't give up. Okay, because although the financial returns might not be there immediately, it's just a matter of time. You can't make a tree grow any quicker. You can kill it if you don't look after it, but if you provide it sunlight and the right temperature and water and that sort of thing, its basic, look after its basic needs, it's not going to grow any quicker than what it's meant to grow. Okay, it grows at its own rate, and you'll just have to be patient. So if you're in business, know that if you're going here at this time doing promotion or marketing at the end of the month, it may not pay off immediately. So I wouldn't be spending a lot of money on marketing activities at the end of the month. Okay, because it's almost like we could be thinking something's going to happen, like almost in fantasy or delusion, and it's a disappointment, and do be careful, if you loan any money to anyone and they say they're going to pay you back, they're probably not going to pay you back straight away anyway. So do bear that in mind, to be careful. The end of the month, we are thinkers, so think about what it is that we're doing, and sometimes you'll take a risk. I take a risk on something, and if it's to do with money, it's probably not going to pan out that well. Okay then, so now luscious Librans, I'll close my eyes and see what I can see to sum up the month. Okay, so there's a shower here in front of me, like a shower head. It's about us cleaning up our act, okay? And we all need to do that. It's a bit like, your normal everyday type housework, but we're doing it not only in our house, but we're doing it within. So a shower to, just get rid of anything that, doesn't belong. Clean out your subconscious, okay? Meditation is always good. There's a set of stairs here in front of me, and they do look a bit rickety. So we want to ascend in consciousness. We want to go up, but it's also good to make sure that you've got a firm grasp on physical reality. You can ascend and grow in consciousness while staying grounded at the same time. I think it's okay. One of these steps is going to give way. So we're taking steps, but one is going to not work. It just breaks in the middle. As I step on it, it just breaks. But I don't fall because I've actually got a hold of the railing really firmly. So I just keep going. I just keep going, and I just sort of say, well, I'm moving forward, and I don't worry about it. I just keep going up. And you too can do that as well. There's a focus here on Australia. I'm Australian, as I said before. First I see a lizard opening its mouth, and then it turns into the Sydney Opera House. I'm really feeling this is about the wildlife here in Australia. We're having terrible fires. Millions, literally millions of animals have been killed. And it's like the animals are coming forward and they need a voice. Please leave water out in your yard, if you have a yard, if you're in Australia, and give animals a voice. Be a voice for the animals in this country, because our government is not doing enough about climate change, and it is absolutely catastrophic here now. There's been lots of people killed and lots of homes have been destroyed. Sydney is actually surrounded by fire on all sides, except it's got ocean on one side, then the other three sides are completely surrounding the city. The smoke is going down there. People are dying from the pollution. And if you know Sydney, you'll know that there's not, the huge amounts of pollution where people die. That's happening now. Please be a voice for the animals. There goes my chooks. Can you hear my chickens? They're speaking up. So that's what we need to do. Okay, so I do hope that's been helpful for you today, luscious Librans, and I look forward to reading for you again. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. I'll have to go downstairs now and find out what's going on in the chook pen. I think they're arguing over a roost because there's 7 chickens and 6 roosts, but they all want to go to the one roost and lay their eggs, and then they argue because they can't all get in at the same time. Okay then, have a wonderful month, and just remember this is the first month of a new year, of a new decade, and so really set the tone of what you want to do for the rest of your year this month. Okay, so get some ideas, sit down and actually plan out some ideas and send them up to Spirit and saying this is what I would like to do. Set your intentions. Okay, have a great month and bye for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please visit my website absolutesoulsecrets.com for all things spiritual. Have a lovely day.